reason why I'm glad that he turned his back on sin is because when he forsook Jesus, that simply means he never forsake me. Y'all don't get it? Because he turned his back at the cross, understand he does not ever turn his back on me. That's why I'm able to hold on to that promise that says he'll never leave me, nor will he forsake me. It is there, understand, it is there, one through the fourth word that he worries about and talks to everybody else. But it is here, when we come to the fifth word, that Jesus begins to talk about himself.
Welcome to Great Evergreen Baptist Church. I am First Lady Leslie Ransom. Come and worship with us in our service every Sunday at 9:30 a.m. We have Sunday school at 8:30 a.m. and Bible study every Tuesday at 7 p.m. We would love for your family to come and join us at 2243 Clear Street. Now let's tune into our service now.
Luke chapter 24. It says, and behold, two of them went that same day to a village called Emmaus, which was from Jerusalem about 80 furlongs. And they talked together all of these things which had happened. And it came to pass that while they communed together and reasoned, Jesus himself drew near and went with them. But their eyes were holden that they should not know him. And he said unto them, what manner of communications are these that ye have one to another as ye walk, and are sad? And the one of them, whose name was Cleopas, answering said unto him, art thou only a stranger in Jerusalem, and hast not known the things which have come to pass therein these days? And he said unto them, what things? And they said unto him, concerning Jesus of Nazareth, which was a prophet mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, and how the chief priests and our rulers delivered him to be condemned to death, and have crucified him. But we trusted that it had been he which should have redeemed Israel. And beside all this, today is the third day since these were done. Yea, and certain women also of our company made us astonished, which were early at the sepulchre. And when they found not his body, they came saying that they had also seen a vision of angels, which said that he was alive. And certain of them which were with us and went to the sepulchre and found it even as the women had said, but him they saw not. Then he said unto them, O fools, and slow of heart to believe, all that the prophets have spoken, ought not Christ have suffered these things and entered into his glory? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded unto them in the scriptures the things concerning himself. And they drew nigh unto the village whither they went, and he made as though he would have gone further. But they constrained him, saying, abide with us, for it's towards evening, and the day is far spent. And he went in and tarried with them. The grass withers, the flower thereof fades, but the word of God shall stand forevermore. Just for a few moments, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, oh neighbor, take a walk with Jesus. Look at somebody else. You know it. You know what I'm about to say. Show them your 32, your 10s, or your 2s, whatever you got left in your mouth, and say, neighbor, Oh neighbor, take a walk with Jesus. Fact is, my brothers and my sisters, it is on this week, the Passion Week, that we commemorate, we recognize, and we remember what Jesus has done for us on a hill called Calvary. You understand how the Bible declares, and historians and theologians declare, that they marched him from judgment hall to judgment hall. You understand how the Bible declares that they whipped him all night long. Where a preacher would say he didn't say a mumbling word. It is there that they whipped him with cat and nine tails that had glass and shells on the end of the cat and nine tails. It is there they whipped him till he was unrecognizable. They pulled his beard out of his head. They spat on him. They hit him. They beat him. Fact is, the Bible declares they put a crown of thorns on his head. They marched him through the streets of Jerusalem, and there we find a man by the name of Simon of Cyrene. History would suggest that he was a black man. This black man, Simon, now picks up the cross and carries the cross, and the songwriter penned a hymn that says, "Must Jesus bear this cross alone, and all the world go free? No, there's a cross for everyone, and there's a cross for me." The Bible declares that they put a sign over his head called King of the Jews. They laid him on that old rugged cross, and they nailed his hands to the cross. They nailed his feet to the cross. And I could hear my preacher, if he was standing here right now, my pastor, he'd say, if I be lifted up from the earth, I'll draw all men unto me. They lifted him up on that cross at the place of skulls, that place called Golgotha. They lifted my Jesus up on that cross, and don't you know, the Bible declares it is then that he begins to utter those 7 words. You know those 7 words. The first of them was, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. I don't know about you, but I'm so glad that he did not put a name there where he had a pronoun. I'm so glad he did not call one name, but I'm so happy that I'm in the them. I'm so happy, my brothers and my sisters, on this morning, that he didn't just call your name, but when he said them, he was also thinking about me. Up on the cross, he understood that he must die an ignominious substitutionary vicarious death so that I might have life and have it more abundantly. You understand why he had to die, my brothers and my sisters, because history suggests that it was then on the Day of Atonement that the Jews would all come together, go to the temple. They would all come together. They would bring the oxen, the cattle, the bulls, the turtle dove, the pigeon, the lamb, the goat, and they would all come together into the temple, and they would make their sacrifice. The priest would take the blood of the lamb and he would sprinkle it over the mercy seat as he went into the Holy of Holies. And it was there in the Holy of Holies that the Bible declares that our atonement was being made. But can I tell you that it was there in the Holy of Holies that sin was not washed away, but sin was just covered up. But it is now here on the cross at Calvary that I don't have to worry about my sins being covered up anymore. But look at somebody and say, I'm so glad he washed all my sins away. Fact is, my brothers and my sisters, the reason why we keep messing up is because we keep trying to cover up what God has already washed. Oh, y'all gonna get that when you go home. You keep trying to hide what God has already washed away. Listen, he promised us, he told us that all of us are going to sin, but can I tell you, the gift is we don't have to pay the penalty of sin. For the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life. I don't have to die in the state that I am in simply because he went to the hill called Calvary. Not only did he say, Father, forgive them, but the Bible declares that he spoke a word to the man on the right, one of the malefactors. He said, verily, verily, I say unto you, this day you shall be with me in paradise. I don't know about y'all, but that makes me happy right there, because it lets me know that even in my worst moments, God still sees about me. Y'all don't understand it. He was there between two thieves, one dying in sin and one getting ready to die from sin. It is Jesus on the cross, blood dripping from his body, blood-stained eyes, and he looks beyond his pain and sees about the needs of one that's in the same situation as him. Can I testify right now? And I need to tell somebody, I'm so glad that even in my lowest moments, in my worst moments, God still knows all about me. Not only does he know about me, but I'm so glad he remembers me. Y'all know that song, up on the cross of Calvary, my God was crucified, and I stood round about him, mocked him until he died. I'm so glad, my brothers and my sisters, that God still knows my name. But it didn't stop right there, my brothers and my sisters, because it is even though he worried about the man on the right and he gave him a place in the kingdom, he looks out into the crowd and he sees his mother and he says, woman, behold thy son, and son, behold thy mother. Listen, can I tell you, my brothers and my sisters, be careful who hands you put your family in. Look at the text. Listen to what he does. He does not call her. I want you to understand. Y'all don't mind if I walk for a little bit. He does not call her mother here. He calls her woman. But you understand that even on the cross, he is still 100% God and 100% man at this time. Even in his hurting moments, even in his struggling moments, he's still God. It is here on the cross that he looks out. He does not look at her as his mother, but he looks at him as himself, as her God. And what he does, even at that moment, he sees fit to take care of his mother. He puts him, the Bible says, in the hands of the man who he loved. You know John. You know the only one that was around after the cross when he had 12 that started out with him. That's preaching music right there. You understand Jesus had 12 disciples, but when Jesus now finds himself on the cross, there's only one disciple standing at the cross, standing there looking at what's going on, caring about his situation. Let me help somebody out and just let you know so I can move on. That everybody that starts out with you ain't going to end up with you. Yeah, you know he had in his camp, he had Peter who denied him, he had Thomas who doubted him, he has Judas who betrayed him, but he still has John right there at the foot of the cross, and it is there at the foot of the cross that he makes up in his mind that he's going to put his mother in John's hands, somebody who he could trust. Can I ask the question right now? I'm almost through. The question simply is, in the worst moment, can God still trust you? Can God still call your name? Can God still raise your name up and you say like Isaiah, here my Lord, send me. It is on the cross. It is on the cross. Not only does he put his hands or put his mother's hands in the hands of John, but the Bible declares that he utters these words. It says he cries with a loud voice. I want y'all to hold on to that. I'm going to get to that. He says he cries with a loud voice. He says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. My God, why hast thou forsaken me? Understand it is here that he does not call him Father, but he calls him God. Y'all understand it. It is at this moment that he does not call him Father, but he calls him God. There is a breaking right here. He no longer calls him Father because it is at this moment that God now has to turn his back on Jesus. Oh, y'all. Okay, y'all. Listen. He didn't turn his back on him as Father. He turned his back on him as God. The reason why he turns his back on him as God, it is because at this moment, Jesus now takes up the sins of the world. The Bible says that he became sin. And I don't know about you, but I read the scripture that lets me know that God cannot look upon sin. And so now he turns away from Jesus because Jesus bears all of our sins. Don't get sad right there. You ought to got happy right there because he took my sin upon himself that I might not have to die for what I've been doing. Anybody in here can say, I've been doing some silly, stupid, foolish stuff. But I'm so glad I don't have to die for the things I've already done. There's something called grace and mercy. Y'all ain't feeling me right here. He says, my God, why has thou forsaken me? I promise I'm going to get to the text. This works real good with the text if you allow me to work it. Understand, he says here, God, you've forsaken me. You've turned your back on me. You've left me all by myself. But can I tell you, I'm so glad that it is at this moment that he forsook God on the cross, or he forsook Jesus on the cross. The reason why I'm glad that he turned his back on sin is because when he forsook Jesus, that simply means he'd never forsake me. Y'all don't get it? Because he turned his back at the cross. Understand, he does not ever turn his back on me. That's why I'm able to hold on to that promise that says he'll never leave me, nor will he forsake me. It is there, understand, it is there through the fourth word that he worries about and talks to everybody else. But it is here when we come to the fifth word that Jesus begins to talk about himself. He simply says, I thirst. Y'all don't understand. Y'all don't understand what it means to thirst. There is a mental connection with your body that lets you know that there is a thirsting going on. You understand that when you begin to thirst, certain things in your body begins to happen. Your mouth begins to dry up. Your blood begins to thicken. There are certain things that happens with a physical thirst. But I need to declare, my brothers and sisters, that it was not necessarily the physical thirst that Jesus was worrying about. But it was the spiritual thirst. Understand, when he was simply saying he thirst, what he was saying to all of us was, come unto me all that are heavy laden and burden wounded, and I will give you rest. What he was saying was, he said, like the great preacher would say, send a man, send a woman, send a boy, send a girl, come unto me. What he was saying is that I'm thirsting for the souls of man. And the crazy thing about it, my brothers and my sisters, some 2,000 and some odd years later, he's still standing with his arms wide open saying, I thirst. You understand the scripture that simply says, whomsoever will, let him come. I don't care what you've been through. I don't care where you're gone. Understand, I don't care how far out you think you are, but somebody can testify, I've been there before, and I'm so glad God has brought me back in. There ought to be about 5 people in here. You can testify this morning that I used to be in the drug house. I used to be in the bar. I used to be, but I'm so glad God has kept me and brought me. Problem with too many of us, we got too many sedity saints in the house. You came out your mother womb shouting, holy, holy, thank you, Jesus, hallelujah. No, I ain't talking to you right now. You ain't never messed up. You ain't never been out in the world. You ain't never had a BC day. Y'all know what a BC day is. BC day is before Christ, but after you did what you did, you still needed a BC. Y'all gonna get it. Y'all gonna. Anybody has some BC days, but you so glad that my BC days are far behind me. Anybody in here can say, I'm so glad that God has saved me from myself. says, I thirst. But look at it. I'm about to move on. He says, look at the text. He says, it is finished. Listen, there is a transition that goes on from words 1 through 5 until we get to 6. In words 1 through 5, he is talking about what is happening. He says, this day thou shalt be with me in paradise. He says in word 5, I thirst. It is going on right now. But when we get to word number 6, the Bible declares, he says, it is finished. He moves from the present tense to the past tense. He moves from the process of forgiving to understand that it has been forgiven. I don't know about y'all. That makes me shout right there. I lose my mind. He says the reason why you ought to be able to shout right now is simply if you could not shout between words 1 through 5. The problem is because you can't shout for expectancy. Y'all, see, there ought to be about 10 people in here. You can praise God for what he's about to do. Yeah, see, some of us could have lost our mind at word number 1 because we knew what he was about to do. But some of y'all were quiet. Y'all were mute in the house because you didn't understand what was going on between one's word through 5. But now that you got to word 6, if you ain't shout between words 1 and 5, you ought to be able to lose your mind at number 6 because what he was talking about in words 1 through 5 has now come to pass. And he says it is finished. He says I don't have to worry about the washing. He says I've been washed. Yeah. Anybody in here, you can say that this morning. I've been washed in the blood of the Lamb. I've been saved. I've been healed. I've been delivered. I've been set apart. I've been set aside. God has washed me white as snow. There ought to be about 10 people in here that can say, I made it, my brothers and my sisters. I don't have to worry about what's going on. I'm a show-me Christian. I see the salvation of the Lord. Is there anybody right now you can say, I can shout? For word number 6, not only sit down. Y'all gonna make me lose it quick. Y'all make me lose it quick. He comes to word number 7, and he says, the Bible once again declares, and he cried with the loud. I told y'all I was gonna get to it. He cried to a loud voice, Father, into thine hands I commit my spirit. Listen, it is word number 4 that he talks about it. He says, and he cried with a loud voice. But he says, my God, my God. He comes to word number 7, cries with a loud voice, but he says, Father. Y'all gonna get it. In word number 4, he shouts, he exclaims, he declares with the word of anguish, my God, why hast thou forsaken? But he comes to number 7, the word of contentment, and cries with a loud voice and shouts, Father. Let me help somebody out. I don't care what situation you in, whether it's anguish or contentment, you ought to be able to call on your daddy. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't care whether you're up, I don't care whether you're down. You ought to be able to know how to open your mouth and say, Father, I need you right now. And knowing whether you call him Elohim, El Shaddai, Elion, whatever you call him, he will answer and he will show up and show out. It is here Jesus in the 7th verse says, Father, I commend my spirit. Father, into thine hands I commend my spirit. Understand there are some things that is happening right now, because you understand that it is in word number 4 that he calls him God. He understands the separation. He understands the separation between him and God. He understands now he is the sins of the world. No, he is not a sinner. He's the sin. I want to make that clear on this morning. He is not. Jesus is blameless, spotless, never committed or knew any sin, but he became sin. He is not a sinner. But what happens here, he's separated from his Father at this moment because he is sin. But look at it. It is that word number 7, Sister Richardson. You find out that he comes back to the Father and he calls him Father. That's right. That's right. I thought y'all knew when to shout. Listen to me. He was separated, but now in number 7, he's brought back together. In word 4, he looks like he was outside, but now he's back inside. Anybody in the house this morning, you can really shout and lose your mind. You understand when John Newton penned that verse, he said, I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. You understand that there have been times in your life that you have been outside. Anybody can say, I've been outside the will of God after I got saved. Don't fool me this morning. Anybody can be real with themselves and say, I stepped outside the will of God. But I'm so glad that God brought me back inside. The Bible says he has a hedge of protection all around me. Pastor Lawrence Gaines of the Morning Star Baptist Church would also always say, there's something within holding the reins. Anybody in here can testify that I'm so glad even when I want to do wrong, God knows how to make me do right. Anybody in here can say he hedges me. Says, Father, into thy hands I commit my spirit. Listen. He says, here, my brothers and my sisters, it really matters whose hands you're in. It does. It does matter whose hands you're in, because understand, my brothers and my sisters, that if you put your hands in the hands of man, man will fail you every time. I really don't care how good sugar is to you or for you, but understand, sugar will fail you.
Now, wasn't that a great message from Pastor Ransom? We would love for you to come join our live service at 9:30 a.m. at 2243 Clewitt Street. Now, until next time, bye.
If you'd like a copy of today's message from the Greater Evergreen Baptist Church at 2243 Clewitt Street on DVD, call us at 504-949-5053. That's 504-949-5053. Please make reference to today's message.